Hello everyone, it's SpawnPoiint and here are my top tips, tricks and features for the PlayStation 5. So whether you've just bought one or you've had one for the last 2 years, hopefully some of these tips will make using the PS5 that little bit easier. And there are even a few in the list that I think are absolute game changers. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if there are any hidden features that I've missed, just drop those in the comments below. Now this is one of my favourite tips. So if you press the mute button on the controller, it obviously mutes your mic. But if you press and hold the button, it will mute your mic as well as all of the PS5's audio. And this is awesome if you want to quickly mute your headset or your TV speakers without needing to try and find your TV remote. And when you do this, the little LED on the controller blinks or pulses so you know that it's muted. Then if you press and hold it again, it will unmute your audio. Now if you're a trophy hunter, this next one could be a game changer for you. If you often find yourself going through the trophy list and pressing the show hidden information for each hidden trophy, you'll know this can be a real pain. Well, fortunately there's a way to permanently reveal all hidden trophies in one go. If you go to the trophy list and before clicking on the game, press the options button and choose reveal all. This will now show all of the hidden trophies for that selected game. So by default, every time you turn your PlayStation 5 on, your mic is switched on your controller. And that means if you join a party or a game, your teammates will be able to hear you. Now that's not a bad thing unless you forget and you say something that you shouldn't. So one of the first things that I did was make sure that the mic is muted by default. And that means each time I turn the PlayStation 5 on, the mic will be muted by default. And you can change this under the controller settings. If we return to the home screen, you'll see we've got 11 of your most recently played games listed across the top, and that's in the order that they were last played. And as soon as you open a new game, it will bump the last game off the list. But if there is a game that you always want to show up here or a game that you regularly play, well, you can pin it by pressing the options button on the game and toggling the pin setting. In fact, you can pin up to 5 games. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't pin them where they're positioned, unfortunately, but it does keep them in view at least in your top 11 games. You've probably noticed this already, but as you navigate around the home screen, you will hear different background music or theme music for each game that you select. Now I like this, but if for any reason you don't, you can disable the background music from playing in the settings. Just go to the sound settings, then audio output, and you can toggle the home screen music on or off. Now there are times that you'll want to jump on the PS5 or on a game and not show yourself as online. Maybe you're supposed to be working or you just don't want to tell your mates. So you can obviously do this from the profile drop down menu, but if you're already online, well, it's too late. So you've got a few choices here. Either switch it to offline before you turn your PS5 off the night before. You could log into the app and change your status there, or when you turn the PS5 on, if you press the options button on your profile photo, it will let you log in as offline. So now you can game without anybody knowing. So the way that your games are displayed or arranged on the home screen cannot be changed yet, but there's a cool way to organize your games into folders or game lists. This allows you to categorize or label your games into genres, game types, or even different family members. Maybe games that you're currently playing could be placed into one game list. All you need to do is go to your game library, press the options on a game and add it to a game list. From here you can create multiple lists, and you can even add the same game to multiple lists as well. Now while you're playing games, streaming or recording gameplay, getting pop-up notifications can sometimes be a real pain or even distracting. Well, fortunately we have full control over what notifications we see and when we see them. You can switch off all notifications or change whether you want to hear the sound or for how long the notification stays on screen. You can even disable them from showing up during recording videos or playing games. I would spend a few minutes just going through the list as there will probably be a few settings that you'd like to switch off. If there's a game that you like the look of but you're not ready to buy it just yet, it's always worth adding it to your wishlist. You can either do this via the store on the PS5 or via the PS app. Just tap the heart icon and add it to your wishlist. Now not only does this show up on your list of wanted games, but you will get a notification via the app and console if this game ever goes into a sale. It means you don't need to keep checking to see if it's been reduced, as you will get notified immediately. We've all played games that you wish didn't show up in your trophy or your recently played games list. Well, the good news is you can remove or hide them. If you've never unlocked a trophy for and it still shows 0% on the trophy list, just tap the options button and delete. However, if there are games on your list that you have started getting trophies for, it's not quite as easy. You won't be able to remove these games from your list, but you can hide them so other people can't see them. If you go to Settings, Users and Accounts, then Privacy, then under Customize Privacy Settings, you can choose which games you wish to hide. These will then be hidden from your trophy and your recently played games. These will show up for you, but they won't show up for your friends and your followers. Now when you press the PlayStation icon on the controller, you see this pop-up menu across the bottom. It's got quick action buttons for your audio, mic and game-based settings, but if you press the options key, it will let you rearrange or even hide certain icons that you don't need. I always have my profile picture at the start and a power off icon at the end, but you can move these around however you'd like. If you've ever needed to turn your controller off, say you're about to watch a movie on the PlayStation 5, well there's two ways you can do this. Either go to the accessory options and select the controller and switch it off, or simply press and hold the PlayStation button on the controller for 10 seconds. Now while the controller is powered on, if you double tap the PlayStation button, it will bring up the current or most recently accessed card. So for me this is the trophy list in Hogwarts Legacy. This means instead of tapping the PS button and then going to the trophy list, I can see it a lot quicker this way. Storage-wise, the PS5 comes with 825GB, of which only 667GB are usable, but there are two ways you can increase this quite easily. The first is to use an external drive which you plug into a spare USB port on the PS5. This will allow you to store and play PS4 games straight from it, as well as being able to store your PS5 games. You won't be able to play PS5 games from an external drive though, so you need to transfer these back onto the console's internal drive when you're ready to play. And if you are downloading and playing PS4 games, my advice is to change this setting for the default save location for all future PS4 games. And then there's the second option, which is to purchase and install a M.2 drive. This is an SSD drive that slots into the internal bay of the PS5. And as long as it meets the minimum speed requirements, you can increase the console storage by up to 4TB. And this is what I've done, which gives me around 4.6TB of available storage. You just need to slide the cover off, remove the screw and metal plate, and slot the SSD in. It's a 5-minute job and it does not void your warranty. So if you subscribe to PlayStation Plus, you unlock literally hundreds of games that you can play at no extra cost. And every month PlayStation releases between 2 and 4 games as part of their free monthly games. Now even if you don't plan on downloading and playing them right away, it's always worth adding them to your library, because as soon as you do this, you now own that game for as long as you're subscribed to PS Plus. And talking of games, if you're like me and buy a lot of your games digitally, here's a cheaper way of buying them. So depending on where you are located, there are websites that allow you to buy PSN credits at a reduced rate. So I use these two websites and often buy £35 gift cards, which means I'm saving anywhere between 10 and 15%. It might not sound like much, but if you're spending £70 on a digital game, it would cost me around £62 instead doing it this way. And that means across the entire year of buying digital games, I could literally save hundreds of pounds. And if you've ever wondered how certain people or users get access to the beta updates, well, there's no real secret. You just need to pre-register your interest on the PlayStation's website. Go to their website, which I have linked below, sign in with your account and click the button. Then if you're selected, you will get a code to redeem via email and voila, you now get to test out any of the new features on your PS5. So something that is often overlooked is the PS app, and it's one of the first things that every PS5 owner should do. It not only allows you to browse the store for games, redeem codes for gift cards, or check your trophy progress, it allows you to manage your console storage so you can see how much space you've got left. And you can even download games straight to your PS5 from the store. It's also a great way to get notifications for your PS5. Things like when your friends come online or send you a game invite. You can even jump into a party chat and chat via the app if you're away from home. And if you install the PS Remote Play app, you'll be able to turn on your PS5 and control the console remotely. Using it to play games from your phone is one of the reasons to get the app, but at the very least it's a great way to check if your console and games are up to date. So what I will often do if I'm away from home is switch the console on and just make sure there are no updates pending. There's nothing worse than getting home ready to play a game and realize you have 2 hours of updates. So by default, the resolution settings for your PS5 will be set to automatic, and 9 times out of 10 this will be absolutely fine. However, if you know your monitor is a 4K screen or you want to play at 1440p, you can update that here. And as VRR is now supported, you might want to make sure this is selected as well. Oh, and if you're on the latest beta software, well, VRR now works at 1440p. So if you're fortunate enough to have multiple PS5s, well, you can transfer your game saves between the two instantly. As long as you're paying for PS Plus and you have the cloud storage enabled, your game saves will automatically be uploaded to the cloud once you've closed the game. Then within a matter of seconds, that same game save will be uploaded and downloaded onto your other console, provided the game of course is installed on there. For me, this means I can swap between my living room and my desk setup and carry on wherever I left off. Now, SharePlay is an awesome feature that lets you and your mates play local co-op or multiplayer games without them needing to be local. They don't even need to own a copy of the game. So if you jump into a party with a friend and select Start SharePlay, you can invite your friend to play the game with you. They can either take control of your player and help you out, or you can set it up as a local multiplayer game. Both of you need to be a PS Plus subscriber, but they don't need to have a copy of the game. Each session lasts for about an hour before it automatically ends. But if there is a multiplayer or a co-op game that you wish you could play with a friend, this is the best way to do it. Then there's the ability to capture screenshots and videos while gaming and either automatically or manually transfer those to your phone. Once you've taken a screenshot or a video, you'll see this little icon which means it's uploading to the mobile app. Then inside the app, if you go to the captures area, you'll see them listed here for the next 14 days before disappearing. This is a great way to share screenshots to Twitter or Instagram without needing to manually send them over. And talking about using your mobile to access the PS5, well, these controllers will connect via Bluetooth to your phone. If you press and hold the PS icon and the share button at the same time, the light bar across the top starts to flash. Now all you need to do is go into your settings and pair it with your phone, and you now have full control and remote play with the PS5. Of course, you can also use the controller to play other local games on your phone. Now this option is pretty cool if you normally choose the same difficulty rating or resolution mode in games. If you go to the saved data and then game presets, there's the option to make some default choices that work across supported games. So if in most games you like to concentrate on the story, you might want to change this to the easiest option. And if you know you prefer performance over resolution, again you can set this here. You can always override this in the games, but at least by default it will select these modes for you. Now the DualSense Edge launched a couple of weeks ago where you get adjustable triggers and rear buttons, but it also allows you to remap any button to another. Well, this feature isn't just for the Edge controller, as it works with a normal DualSense controller as well. If you go into the accessibility settings, controllers, and enable the custom button assignment, from here you can remap and swap some of the buttons around. This is perfect if you're playing an old PS1 game where the controls are flipped or different to what you need. But don't forget, this is applied console-wide, so not just for one game or one profile, unlike the DualSense Edge. And if you ever need to shut your PS5 down and you don't have the controller nearby, you can do this by pressing and holding the power button on the front of the console for 5 seconds. This is the bottom one out of the two. Now when navigating around the PS5, if you tap the triangle button, it will jump to the top bar. It's only a small feature, but it saves you tapping up and right a few times to jump to the settings or the profile area at the top. Now sometimes the PS5 needs its cache clearing, and it's often the case when games or the menu start to lag or slow down a little. I've only experienced this once, and that was while playing Horizon a few weeks ago. Now the easiest way to clear the cache is to unplug the power from the console and leave it switched off for a few minutes. Otherwise you can attempt to access the safe mode. All you need to do is turn the PS5 off, then press and hold the power button until you hear a second beep. It's after about 7 seconds. Then you need to plug your controller in via the USB and select the Clear Cache and Rebuild Database option. Clearing the cache should do the trick here, but you can also choose to rebuild the database. Now sometimes you might want to see how long you've played a game for, or how long your friends have. If you go to your profile page, you're able to see every game you've played and for how many hours. And then if you go to your friends page, you can do exactly the same. You can compare how many hours you've both played. Now in the latest beta software, they've actually included this information on the home screen for every game. So it means you don't need to go to your profile page anymore because you can see this information here. Okay, so the DualSense controller has this little LED light on the front which reacts to what you're doing in games. So it could change between red, blue, and white or any other color. But if you wanted to reduce the brightness, well, you can do this in the controller settings. Just go to the accessories and controller settings, and you can either dim the brightness, you can also turn off the speaker and vibration for each controller. So when you're typing messages or searching for things, you can either use the arrows on the D-pad and select the letters, or you can use the touchpad and move it around like a mouse. But there's also another way of doing this. If you press the L3 and R3 sticks in together, it will turn the controller into a pointer. So now you can move the controller around and hover over each letter before pressing X to select. Wow, you've just made it to the end of this huge list of tips, tricks and features for the PlayStation 5. I hope there were at least a few ideas in the list you either like the look of or that you'd never seen before. But out of the entire list we've gone through today, which was your favourite? And if I did miss any, which would you recommend that I added? For me, I think the best ones are the mute all audio by pressing and holding the mute button on the controller, and the reveal all hidden trophies. That really makes a huge difference when playing games and checking which trophies I still need. Well, if you drop a PS5 tricks in the comments, I will give you a thumbs up for staying right till the end. And if you did enjoy today's video, check out my DualSense Edge video next, as that covers the brand new Pro controller that we saw launch last month. Well, thanks for watching, please like, sub and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time.